Part 1, Democratic Process and Elections Explained like you're 10. Let's learn about elections and how they work in a democracy like Bangladesh. Elections are like a big decision-making game where people choose their leaders, like picking a class monitor. Here's how it all works. What is an election? An election is a way for people to choose their leaders. It's like voting to pick your favorite captain for the school team. Everyone gets one vote, and the person with the most votes wins. What is a constituency? Imagine dividing your town or city into smaller areas called constituencies. Each constituency has its own election to choose one leader. It's like each class in a school voting for its own monitor. What is a vote? A vote is your choice. It's like raising your hand or writing down the name of the person you want as your leader. Every vote is important because it decides who wins. What is a voter list? The voter list is like a roll call. It's a big list of all the people who are allowed to vote in an election. If your name isn't on the list, you can't vote. What is a ballot paper? A ballot paper is the sheet where you mark your vote. It's like a secret answer sheet where you tick the name of the person you want to choose. What is the electorate body? The electorate body is the group of all people who can vote in an election. It's like saying all the kids in the school get to vote. Basis of voting right. This means the rules about who gets to vote. In most places, anyone over 18 years old can vote, no matter if they are rich or poor, a boy or a girl. This is called universal suffrage. What is direct election? In a direct election, you vote for the person you want as your leader. For example, when you vote for a mayor or a member of parliament, that's a direct election. What is indirect election? In an indirect election, you vote for people who will later choose the leader. For example, you might vote for a group of people who will then choose the president. Direct voting method. This is when you directly vote for your leader. It's simple and used in many elections, like choosing members of parliament. Secret voting method. In secret voting, nobody knows who you voted for. You mark your choice privately, like filling out a form in secret, so no one pressures you to choose someone you don't want. Would you like me to explain elections in Bangladesh, national and local, in part 2? Part 2, Elections in Bangladesh. Now let's talk about how elections work in Bangladesh at both the national and local levels. It's like having different levels of school elections, some for the whole school, others for smaller groups like classes or clubs. Elections at the national level. 1. Presidential elections. The president is the head of state in Bangladesh, but this election is indirect. Members of parliament, MPs, vote to choose the president, not the public. 2. National parliamentary elections. This is a direct election where the people vote for MPs to represent their constituencies. There are 300 constituencies in Bangladesh, and the candidate with the most votes in each wins. The party with the majority of MPs in parliament forms the government. Elections at the local level. Local elections are like smaller elections for community leaders. These include 1. Municipality elections. People vote for mayors and councilors to run towns and small cities. These leaders handle things like roads, markets, and local development. 2. City corporation elections. Larger cities like Dhaka and Chittagong hold these elections to choose mayors and councilors. They manage bigger tasks, like public transport and large infrastructure projects. 3. District council elections. These councils oversee development in districts outside cities. Leaders are chosen to look after larger areas, like making sure schools and hospitals are running well. 4. Hill District Council elections. In the hilly regions of Bangladesh, special councils are elected to address the unique needs of those areas. 5. Upazila, Sub-District Council elections. These are for leaders who manage sub-districts. They work under district councils to help smaller communities. 6. Union Council elections. This is the lowest level of local government. Villagers vote for chairpersons and members to manage small areas like villages or groups of villages. Bangladesh Election Commission, BEC. The Bangladesh Election Commission is like the referee in a big game. It makes sure elections are fair and smooth. What they do: 1. Prepare the voter list. 2. Oversee voting and counting. 3. Resolve complaints if anyone feels the rules were broken. 4. Ensure that the elections are free and fair for everyone. In short, elections in Bangladesh are a way for people to have a say, both nationally and locally. It helps choose leaders to run the country and solve problems in communities. Just like voting for the school captain ensures that the school runs better, these elections ensure that the country and its areas are managed properly. Elections in Bangladesh versus elections in the United States. Let's compare the election process in Bangladesh with the election process in the United States to see how things work differently in both countries. Tack 1. Presidential elections. Bangladesh. The president is chosen through an indirect election. Only the members of parliament, MPs, vote to elect the president. United States. The president is elected through a combination of direct and indirect voting. Citizens vote for electors in the Electoral College, who then elect the president. 2. National parliamentary elections. Bangladesh. The people directly vote for members of parliament, MPs, in 300 constituencies. The party with the most MPs forms the government, and its leader becomes the prime minister. United States. There are 2 houses of Congress: the Senate and the House of Representatives. Senators and representatives are elected through direct elections by the people in their states or districts. 3. Local elections. Bangladesh. Local elections happen at multiple levels: municipalities, town-level mayors and councillors, city corporations. Large cities like Dhaka and Chittagong elect mayors and councillors. Union parishads, village-level elections for chairpersons and members. United States, local elections include choosing mayors for cities, city council members, county officials like sheriffs and judges. Some places also hold elections for school boards and other local bodies. 4. Voting systems. Bangladesh uses a first-past-the-post system for all elections, where the candidate with the most votes wins. Voting is typically conducted using ballot papers or electronic voting machines in some cases. United States also uses the first-past-the-post system for most elections, except the presidential election, which uses the Electoral College system. Voting methods vary: paper ballots, electronic voting machines, and even mail-in ballots. Har 5. Election supervision. Bangladesh. The Bangladesh Election Commission ensures free and fair elections. It manages voter registration, voting processes, and dispute resolution. United States. Elections are managed by state governments rather than a central body. Each state has its own rules for voting and elections. 6. Voter eligibility. Bangladesh. Universal suffrage for citizens aged 18 and older. Voter registration is mandatory to be on the voter list. United States. Universal suffrage for citizens aged 18 and older, but registration is state-based and can vary in requirements. Summary. The key difference is that Bangladesh has a centralized election system managed by the Election Commission, while the U.S. relies on state governments to run elections. Additionally, the U.S. presidential election uses the Electoral College, making it a mix of direct and indirect elections. Unlike the purely direct elections in Bangladesh for members of parliament,